What's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday. The best show on YouTube is back. We are here not only to be entertaining for you all, to engage you all, to educate you all, but ultimately to do whatever we have to do to make you a better trader. That's why we're here. That's why we do this every day. We spend 3 hours each morning together preparing for every show to make sure that the charts are ready, the ideas are ready, the levels are ready. And so I'd like to welcome everyone to a fresh week of trading, a short week of trading. I want to start today off with something special. I want to recognize some of the folks who are here with us early and join our show early every single day. So I'm going to give away 3 Starter Plus accounts right out of the get-go. They're going to Trading with Frenzo. They are going to Tiger Sleep, and they're going to Death Star. All 3 of you, free 50K Starter Plus accounts right at the start. It's 9:06 a.m. And we already have the giveaways, the freebies rolling, flying, cooking. And so congratulations to you all. As we look to the next 2.5 hours here, I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview. Right now, we're going to dive straight into EQ. Oh my God. I'm all over the place today. Dive straight into ES and NQ. We're going to talk to Barbie. We're going to talk to Forrest. We're going to get some ideas as to the levels that they're looking at. We're going to talk to Terry and get Terry's take on any trades or levels that she's looking at as we approach the day. We're also going to look at gold. We're going to look at VIX. We are going to deliver you the most interesting chart of the day. We are the only stream on YouTube that every day brings you the most interesting chart of the day. It's going to be an asset that you're not thinking of. Today's is a good one, so stay tuned so you see that. But without further ado, I would like to welcome Ms. Bull Barbie, Mr. Forrest Knight, onto the stream with us today.
Good morning. Are we trading EQ this morning?
We're trading EQ today.
All right, let's do it.
Doing it. I'm ready.
You ready? All right. What was the most interesting thing from your weekend?
Oh, I joined a cult.
Really?
Cool. Super interesting.
I got one of these, which apparently means I'm in a cult now. I've been informed.
That's math.
So anybody know what this is?
I know.
It's a whole thing.
Wait, what is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's someone got it. It's a labubu.
It's a what? Are you making shit up?
It's a labubu. It's a little Chinese toy for grown-ups, apparently.
Oh.
And if you have one, you're in the cult.
Yeah, I'm looking this up too.
Okay.
I got to keep y'all hip with all the Gen Z stuff. And right now we're doing labubu cult.
I don't know if you have to do that. You know what I mean?
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make lots of money, but we do that anyway.
All right, fair enough. Do you like it? How many did you get? Just the one?
I just have one.
Okay. Cool. Exciting.
All right, Forrest.
The kids are proud of me.
Colt?
I did not join a cult this weekend. I was very busy, just literally working nonstop. I know it sounds fun. A lot of stuff going on here in the studio business. But yeah, it was exciting. Got a little overnight action though, so that was cool. Made some money.
All right, why don't we start there? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we had a let's actually just zoom in to the chart. Oh, we'll do it here in a second. But yeah, just caught along from I'm in. Caught a long overnight, dang near from the low down here, right? So when we came for like the beginning of this flag, I was kind of forming on the higher. I'm on the 15-minute right now, but the bottom of this flag on the hires took a long, right? Kind of see what this looked like at this point in time. So as we get away from the magnet, it's 11 p.m. at this time. You got to ask yourself, what are the odds overnight that this just does a straight run lower in this current environment? I figured it was going to mean revert. I was right, so I just took a long there and literally just traded across this entire thing. So that was nice. And yeah, that was the trade. I was actually hoping I got stopped out. So I did trail my TP. I was hoping that this would keep running. That certainly was hopeful, though. I knew it was going to very likely come back in. But I was hoping maybe I'd get lucky and we just have a nice, strong breakout early on the week. There is no tier 1 data today that I'm aware of. I did check. So this makes the most sense, right? Just narratively for it to come back into the major node here, the magnet point of control here. So yeah, that was the trade last night. Not a bad way to start the day. And it is, the Tuesday version of Monday today. Typically on Mondays, I'm a little more careful. I'll say this, right? Whenever you have a holiday in trading, and if you journal a lot, you realize this. Usually, either the day before or the day after, right? The half day, there can be some action, and we can see how that was the case on Friday, right? Really, really strong move. Coming in on Friday and then coming out of Friday as well, right? Around this holiday, these hours, right? So the market's setting itself up for the next thing, and then this week we have CPI on Wednesday. Is that right?
Yes.
Keep me honest.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So my entire plan for today is based off of the premise that this week is going to have Wednesday as a mover. So knowing that Wednesday is going to be a mover, the market needs to put itself in position to make that move make sense, right? So thinking about that today, knowing that CPI is tomorrow.
Awesome. All right. And before we cut over to EQ with Barbie, I'm going to give an ask to everyone to like the stream, share the stream, comment in the stream if you haven't commented yet. Now is your chance. You've not posted it on your Discord, on your X account, on your Truth Social account. Now is the time to go ahead and share the stream. We've got some giveaways cooking, and giveaways today are going to be based on a couple bounties that we set up that include commenting, liking, sharing. So go ahead and get the early start on that. And if you're trading EQ today, give me a big EQ in the chat. Barbie.
You ready?
Ready. Spaghetti.
Well, the dogs are ready too, apparently.
Spaghetti.
Excuse me, dogs. Can I talk? Anyway, so I wanted to start on the daily again, because as y'all know, I always put my daily plans, or even my intraday plans, within the context of what the structure is on a more macro level. So here's the daily, and I marked out these purple zones last week at some point to kind of show y'all what I was the range that I was expecting the market to stay in on a larger scale until it actually starts doing something interesting. And sure enough, we are just kind of bouncing around between there. But before we go to the levels, I want to show you one other thing that's interesting on this chart. Here's the weekly. So this is the ES weekly. I think everybody recognizes this shape right here. You don't have to be trading very long to know what this shape is. That would be a weekly bull flag. So the context that I'm putting all of my trades in is either, we can keep filling out this bull flag. That's the choppy scenario. There's breaking out of the bull flag to the upside. That's the bullish scenario. And then there's failing the bull flag, which is the bearish scenario. So even though I have that kind of outlook on the intraday, you're all used to me saying that on the intraday, I'm still putting it in the context of what we're doing on this bigger macro chart. So let's talk about the levels. So this is my messy markup chart. And I do want to remind y'all, this is an hourly, so the levels look a lot closer. I'm not trading this close on like a 1 minute or 5 minute chart, but these are the zones that I'm watching. The first thing that I noticed is when we opened up, we were at that, I kept harking on the 58.21 last week. That's where we opened and we rallied. So that's of note. We do have that fade trade. So what I've marked here, we have we have single prints down here, basically. I showed y'all the TPO chart last week. I haven't really covered it more. I need to do that more. But we have some single prints down here, which is it's a kind of market inefficiency. So I know that fair value gaps are everywhere, but it's the same kind of idea where we haven't had efficient trading down in this level. So if we do start failing back and retracing our pre-market move, this is my first main target. Is the 58.43. We have to get through the 50s zone to get there, which is some pretty strong support. So the most bullish scenario is even if we test lower, we just flat out hold this support level and keep walking up the levels. But I do think it's decently likely if we chop or move lower to come in and work on those single prints and kind of if we can find any chop it's very likely to be around this 5850s area since we really do have a target down there. So that's kind of just the immediate thing I'm looking at. A lot of times these moves up in the extended hours do get faded in regular trading hours. And the way I look at it is the market wants to prove that that was a real move and that the pricing is really accepted. So that's this zone just looks really ripe for testing down here in the 5880s. But if the market is just in full bull mode, we do have some levels we can keep walking up. So that would look like holding this support here. We've made through it and kind of been snaking around it. That would be holding the 5875 area, walking back up to 5900. I have these targets up here. The first one's the pre-market high, and y'all know I watch these a lot. So pre-market high, 59.1250. If we get through there, we're very likely to test 59.25. If we get through there, we're very likely to test 59.40. These are just, you can kind of see how the market kind of takes these little upswings and downswings. That's just where I see those targets going. The bigger targets we have up here are the highs from last week. So we had a regular trading hours high at 59.56. These are not actually in the same place. I have double levels there. And then there's a one from the pre-market, which was at 59.58. So that's the upper 59.50s is kind of where I think the market will slow down and think about, are we really moving higher? Of course, we have those big, this is kind of not necessarily for today, but in general, we still have that 6,000 mark up there. And the 2024 close up there at 59.90. Those are the big macro targets for me right now. But first, we have to work through all of this stuff. And this is kind of the area that I'm focused on for today, is seeing if the bullish move gets us up to the 59.50s. So the bearish move would be just completely fading all of this, saying the price is not accepted this higher. Regular trading hours traders don't like it. We do have a trend line down here. So that would be getting through the 50s and breaking this high from whatever. Friday. I'm like, what day is it? So if we get through the Friday high, then I would be looking, the obvious test is that level I kept looking for last week, which is the 58.21. And then we have 5,800 down below that. But like we mentioned earlier, like Forrest mentioned, there's not a whole ton of data early this week. I had this filtered out and then I messed it up.
What does CPI do for you though?
We have FOMC minutes on Thursday. Where are you seeing? Oh, this is an RCPI. This is Bank of Japan CPI.
Oh,
I had this filtered out. Hang on, let me fix this real quick. So here's our US stuff. So on Wednesday, the big thing is the FOMC meeting minutes. And I want to clarify that this is the minute. So we had the rate decision. That's bigger news. The rate decision and the press conference that comes after it is bigger news. But the way this works, it's like when you have earnings. So you have those initial numbers. That was last week. As we got the Fed rate and what they were generally thinking about it. And then you have the forward guidance on an earnings report. And the meeting minutes are a lot like that. We can kind of get more insight into the thought process, which we can kind of interpret a little bit more like guidance. So that's what comes out not this afternoon, on Wednesday afternoon.
Let me ask you this. When we get the meeting minutes, like how often roughly does the market react to it? Like, is it every report?
It usually reacts to it.
Okay.
It's how strongly it reacts. So if the meeting minutes are really in line with what we already know from last week, we'll get an initial little move and then it'll just kind of pitter patter inside of that move. But if there's a surprise, if there's something new that we didn't know about, then we'll get a big reaction. This year, we haven't had the big reactions because the Fed they've been holding steady where this is our goal. It's still our goal, always our goal. It's always the same. But a couple of years ago, when we didn't know what was going on coming out of all the COVID stuff, we would have surprises a lot more on the meeting minutes that could launch the market a decent amount. But today is relatively quiet. That was kind of the way I was looking at it. Is we have the meeting minutes tomorrow, and then GDP and unemployment on Thursday, and then PCE on Friday. Those are all a lot bigger than any of this stuff that's coming on today. We do have some Fed speakers and stuff in the evening, and we have consumer confidence. That can cause an exciting little candle, but relatively quiet.
Yeah, tomorrow will probably be and that was my fault. I don't know why I thought it was CPI tomorrow. We'll have action until like 10. We'll die all day, and then it'll chop going into 2 p.m. It's kind of how FOMC usually goes.
Yeah. It still always respects the levels though. So
yeah, we'll probably get a move. Like usually if it's the minutes, then yeah, it'll just be a fast candle. Sometimes if there's someone speaking, like someone talks, there'll be a move right after they finish speaking as well. You'll see another little impulse there.
And Barbie, real quick, before you leave the chart you were just on.
Oh, I can go back to that one.
Give us the levels one more time that we should be watching around the open that suggest to you if we're going to be on the bullish side or the bearish side today.
Yeah, so remember, this is really zoomed out. So I'm kind of looking at what the prospective price action could be for the entire day. Because if you look at here's an entire day, here's an entire day, I look at this in relative to the levels, kind of how much we could possibly travel. But so right now we're really hovering around the 5,900, which of course is the century marks are always kind of magnetic, but we've got the 5870. I marked it as 5877 below. There's kind of a zone around the 5880 mark. So I'm watching 5880, and then below that we have the 5850s. That's really a zone because we chopped around so much last week there. And then that target down below is 5843.75, which is the high from Friday. And then the 5821 is we're really kind of a magnetic level down there. So the way I look at that is if the market gets any excuse to travel down there, we're probably going to hit that. That's the way I look at the magnet levels. And then above 5,900, I'm looking at, I have this zone here, but 5925 is the firmer level on that zone. And then we had a previous magnet up there at 5940, and then 5956 is kind of my main target overhead.
Lovely. Thank you, Barbie, for the recap. A preview as to what's ahead. We're closing in. We're starting to get there towards the open. And so we'll be covering the open. Every single day we deliver for you the most interesting chart of the day. Every day we deliver. Most interesting chart. It's an asset that you're not thinking of. We have an educational segment. We look at the 10 a.m. candles when we see the 4-hour and the 2-hour close and start anew. And that's what Forrest likes to trade off of. So a lot ahead. Before that, I would like to offer up, grace you all with the next bounty, the next round of giveaways as of today, like an hour ago, half an hour ago, just now. We launched a Starter Plus promotion where we are offering 30% off of Starter Plus plans. Anybody who purchases this week, that's an existing customer, can get 30% off of their Starter Plus plan, which is the best value in prop trading. We'll go into details a little bit later on the show. But again, 30% off of our Starter Plus plan, 50K accounts. You will be entered to an additional free 50K Starter Plus plan. So again, anyone who in the next, I didn't even say what it is. If you purchase in the next 15 minutes with this 30% off deal, you will be entered to win a free 50K Starter Plus account. Promotion is live. Link and code are in the chat, spamming it several times over. If you purchase within the next 15 minutes, you are entered to win an additional free 50K Starter Plus account. Go grab them, and I'll be watching. With that, Terry, we heard from Forrest. We heard from Barbie. What are you looking at on the market today?
Good morning, guys.
Happy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
We're vibing.
Vibing. So am I. My live account is up. It's running.
Let's
it
go.
made money. Yeah. Let's go, right?
Go.
I can share my. Oh wait, sorry, Forrest. Tell us, share what your thoughts are, levels are for NQ.
Sure. Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a gander. As you all know, and I do love my higher time frame analysis, so I love to see it. Weekly, I literally was marking this up while Barbie was talking as well. Price target higher, 21,675. We got prior day low, 20,730.25, and my price target lower is 20,505.25. So I do expect one of those to get touched. Last week or so, I had my levels get respected almost down to the penny. So we'll see if these get touched today. Here in the open, we'll mention this. We did just reject the point POC that's been formed so far in the session. So here on the 1 hour, see that we respect that a little bit. I'm very, very curious to see if we hold above this when the market opens here in 5 minutes, and we'll immediately push higher. So this high up here, start making our way towards this 21,600, or even just across this auction here. So this thing in red is this node on the higher time frame, right? So I would look for us to traverse this higher with my ultimate price target 21,600. But yeah, those are the levels. Write them down.
Thank
Let's
you.
go.
And you're in a long, right? I heard earlier that are you still in the long?
No, I already took profits on that. I got trailed out.
Oh, nice. Way to start the morning. I love making money early in the morning. Yeah, so I hopped in some trades this morning too, and the live account is up like $529. So that's good. First
Go.
day.
Let's go.
Right? Okay, here we go. So we are about 4 minutes before market open. We have this nice little red candle. So we're up about 1.5%. So we're opening up gap higher. It is a little bit of a bigger gap, but sometimes like after a holiday day, I've seen the market correct. And that is partly why I hopped in short here. We were substantially above VWAP this morning. I wake up really early. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I like this. So I jumped in short with 5 micros, and I was aiming for VWAP as a profit target. And then what happened here? I'll show you guys. So here, like this is a new account. My drawdown amount started at 2,500 total, but I did have to pay data fees out of it. So I was like, okay, I have to be really careful in the beginning, right? Because I want to grow this account, and I don't want to lose it, because that would be, one, embarrassing, but I'm human, so it's okay. And then 2, like I am trying to improve as a trader. So I went in actually earlier this morning. I was in an actual mini, and I was like, holy crap, this is way too big of a size. I need to size down. I went 5 micros, and then here when it started to pull back, I got out. And then I'm like, well, why did I get out? Because I was trailing a stop. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get back in. So I got back in with 5 micros, and then my target was still at VWAP, but when this candle happened, I got out. So that is how I locked in most of the $529 in this new account that's live, that's real money, real orders hitting the market. And then also overnight when Globex opened, I took some micros short off of this, thinking that we would go test VWAP from the day before. So those are my trades this morning.
Nice.
Love it.
Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, just a day at a time, right?
You're inspiring me to take those little signals more often. That's something that I kind of struggle with. I think I'm kind of between Forrest's really slow signals and your fast ones. It's also kind of inspiring me to go ahead and go in on some of the faster moves that I see.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, Barbie. Yeah, you guys are definitely influencing my trading too. It's just like talking the markets with you guys, trades, risk management. I can already tell it's like mellowing me out.
That's good.
Which is
It's all about balance, right?
Yeah, exactly. So look at
We're about
this.
to open. What we got, like 5 seconds now, right?
Yep. This is looking like market is definitely market on open, selling. All right, we're open. So I am planning on taking the 5-minute orb just with 1 micro this morning. So we'll see what happens. The trade did win on
we can
Friday.
watch the 5 minute, and then we can watch the 15 too. So this will be fun.
Yes. So on Friday, it took hours to finally close that trade.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it,
By the way,
Forrest, what was that?
I said, how was that experience?
Oh, it was good. So I will say trading live and posting your trades live does add an element that's different than if you're trading completely private. There is this like feeling of I don't want to lose even more.
That's why I personally like the more systematic trades to show people.
Yeah.
Plus, they're a lot easier to follow, in my opinion. So
yes,
more educational.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that it's like hands off. And so once it was on, even though I felt nervous, like when we were streaming on Friday, when the trade was going against me a little bit, it wasn't a lot, but a little bit, it was like, okay, if it loses, it loses. It's not me, it's the system. So that takes off pressure. And I do like that about systematic trading. I was thinking, okay, what do I want to do with this 5-minute orb strategy, like in this live account? And I think what I would like to do is just trade it every single morning for as long as possible. And then also trade my discretionary trades in the live account, like, on stream, off stream, like, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about that.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah.
I live trade once in a blue moon. Like I randomly will just have my live account up, but yeah, I have no desire to do that because of the psychological pressure. So kudos to you and everybody who does it. But yeah, I don't do that for that reason. Sorry, guys.
Well, we're on hater patrol. Don't worry, I'm on hater patrol. So you go insulting my Terry's trades, you're done.
Oh, thank you, Barbie. I've got your back too.
So we're gonna watch yours. You start hating on Terry's trade. I got your number, y'all.
People like everyone, we lose trades. It's just how it goes.
It's
and it's
literally
okay.
part of it.
Yeah,
it is.
I don't have a 100% success rate. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say
gosh, I wish we did. We would be like trillionaires. It'd be amazing.
240%. No,
every single trade wins. No bad trades ever. No such thing.
My trades win twice.
Yeah. No, it's so last week we were talking about win rate versus like profit factor. And Forrest, you said you prefer to look at profit factor, right? Like that's what's most important to you?
Yeah, because it's the best summarization of profitability, right? Because you could have a win rate of 90% and be losing money due to your risk management, right? So profit factor is the one metric that actually tells you for any trade that I get in, my money expectancy, right? RR doesn't do that. None of the other metrics do that. Profit factor is literally the only one. So it's a good thing to track over time. And I say that just especially after like coaching and looking at a bunch of people, like their false like understanding of like risk management and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, like it doesn't matter if you have a 90% win rate. That one trade lost you $42,000. You know, like that's not, so
it's not good. Yeah, and I don't know why, but like beginner traders and intermediate traders, it's so easy to have like a red day take out a bunch of green days.
Yeah. And money management is key too, because I have a strategy that I've tried to teach to other people, but a lot of people were trying to trade it with one lots, and the money management is a major part of the trade, and that's how we get the success. It's trailing the runners and capturing the big wins and everything. And if you trade it with a one lot, it changes the math completely, and you don't get the trade management advantage. So something with a 60% success rate, depending on how you manage it, can be really, really successful or a complete failure. And that's exactly what we were dealing with on that trade.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is our 5 minute coming up right here, right?
Yep. So we're about 10 seconds left. It's pushing low. So this is where it's tricky to try and enter to put in the order. All right. I am going to put in the stop. It looks like it's probably going to break this low. So this is a stop market order. Once it hits this price, it will execute a market sell. And I just
These are
eyeball
my
it.
favorite kind of orders too, because you just sit back and wait for it to happen.
Yeah, right. Okay, we're in. So I am going to cancel this entry for the long side. And then I'm going to bring my stop down. I'm risking the first candle about, and then I just eyeball it. I'm going for about 1-to-1. That looks about right. Wow, market is really pushing down.
It is. We've got VIX charging higher right now too. I'm noticing that on the other chart. If VIX moves up, it's going to help this NASDAQ move down. So this is good for the trade.
Yes, I like this. So we're at about 1.15% in the green for NASDAQ. Here's a pivot low here. I'm looking at this. I like that. My take profit is a little bit above that. Yeah, it's kind of in a hurry, coming down.
Let's go.
So, yeah.
Low here. Let's see if we come to 58.62.75 ES.
Yeah, I was watching the 61 level right there too. So kind of the same spot.
So sometimes I'll look at the chart and I'll look over. I like to look at like big candles. So I like
big candles are better than small candles. Is that what you're saying?
I love all candles. Okay. So over here, so this big candle right here, sometimes if we're trading back into it, sometimes if we trade on the opposite side, like there's just a lot of inventory. So sometimes for discretionary trades, if I see this and we trade below, I will just take a 1-to-1. And so I would sell here. But we're already in a trade. So, but I like this. I do want to see it, right? I like that. I kind of, so when I see this and I had an entry up here, I'm like, oh man, I wish I just like held it the whole way. How do you guys deal with FOMO?
Well, that's where you have to have that systematic approach, because why would you have just hopped in? I mean, we're already kind of pushing the opening range breakout, doing it on a 5-minute. So we're already pushing that a little bit. What would you do? A 1-minute breakout? Like,
yeah.
At that point, you're having to, I mean, I'm always looking at everything from a really analytical approach since I try to automate strategies too. So it's like, at that point, we have to add some other factor or it's just not going to be a very reliable trade.
Yeah. And it's not like consistent. Like, is it repeatable?
Right.
Yeah.
That's when we get into the numbers and like you're talking about, it's hard to place trades live. And if I have the data behind me, then I can say, this isn't even my fault it lost. It's the numbers. Like the more systematic it is, the easier that is. And I don't think that's just trading live. I think that's a good lesson for trading in your own accounts too. If you're feeling that pressure, make it more systematic and get the data behind you.
Barbie, are you thinking you might take the 15-minute orb, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, especially, so I try not to overthink this. So we had the Monday closure. Is that making today kind of Monday? I'm usually,
Yo, you
I usually have my voice. I'm dying. No.
Oh, no.
So on Tuesdays, a lot of times when we don't have the Monday, it's kind of a Monday. And on Mondays, I don't position as heavy on my first trade. I think it's like a psychology thing. I tend to psych myself out on my first trade of the week. And so we're kind of in a gray area there. It's not Monday, but it's not, I mean, it's also the first day. And so like on this sort of trade, fortunately, this gave us room. If you've got a really strong, aggressive move like that, hopefully you can get your stop protecting your entry real quick. So yeah, I swallowed the candle. Man, I want to make a joke right here. Am I going to get in trouble?
No,
y'all know where I'm going. Y'all know where I'm going with it.
We like your sassiness. So
I'll swallow some of this.
We're going to talk about the VIX today. Is that right?
Well, I was just watching it. Are you? So
okay.
I do have another thing I was looking at for chart of the day.
Yeah, share with us. Do tell while this trade is working.
Or not working. We'll see.
Or not working.
You let me know if we need to switch back.
Okay, sounds good.
What I was looking at today is kind of obvious. Nvidia. I know sometimes it's supposed to be this great magical secret, but so Nvidia has earnings coming up, and obviously Nvidia is a big one. It's you know, this is one of the biggest holdings in the NASDAQ, and it's one of the biggest movers in the NASDAQ. It's definitely made a lot of really good money for a lot of people here. So right now we are above the 130 level. We have earnings scheduled for tomorrow. They're forecasting a revenue increase, and not just like a little one, but a 66% year-over-year increase. The thing that we have to worry about with Nvidia is how the tariffs and all of the geopolitical stuff would be impacting Nvidia. That's the thing that just keeps knocking it down. So the US has curbed the H20 chips to China. So that could be a $5.5 billion loss, is what I was looking up on that one. So we are still technically down a little bit, but this is one like it'll move down and then it'll have like a massive 50% rebound. So it's one that we love to play with the options market. If you like to gamble in the options market, Nvidia is your guy, right? So we've been dealing with this a lot. Here's the thing I'm looking at on the daily when we actually move down into the chart. This is kind of ugly right now. This is a bull flag. We have a bull flag forming on Nvidia coming into earnings. And so when you have a bull flag, you're looking for a continuation of a bullish trend or to potentially fail out the bottom of it. And that gives us some really clear levels here. So we've got the high level of the bull flag up there on 137, the low of the bull flag down here at 129. So 130 is usually an important level on Nvidia. You can kind of see when we zoom out and just hover the crosshair on how many touches we have on the 130 level. So that's definitely one to watch. And then above the resistance that we need to look for, we have 143 up here. I have this high up here. I'm trying to hover. I think my lock is turned off. 143.55 is that level up there. And then 150 is another good psychological one on Nvidia. We kind of go a little bit above it and a little bit below it, but 150 is kind of that major psychological level. If you're a little bit shy on Nvidia and don't want to play the big gamble, you can look at things like AMD, things like that. But this is definitely going to be either a money maker or a money loser for a lot of people this week. That's the daily. I'll go down into the hourly. You can kind of see we had a gap up. And so there is potentially a gap fill, potentially a good entry down in here if we can get back towards that support if you're gambling on Nvidia this week.
Thank you, Barbie.
Yeah.
Is it Nvidia or Nvidia? Does anyone know? Am I pronouncing it right?
I've always said Nvidia. Nvidia.
Nvidia.
Nvidia.
I forgot how I pronounced it, and someone quickly corrected me. I was like, oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, that's funny. Someone called AMD Advanced Money Destroyer. It can be.
Or Advanced Money Distributor. Or
yeah. I've made and lost plenty with AMD and Nvidia.
Oh God.
I'm an Nvidia holder. I dip by Nvidia. I'm a long-term holder in Nvidia, so I believe in it in general.
Nice. And you trade options too, right, Barbie?
I trade the options on it too. We had some massive leap plays on Nvidia last year in the Discord. We made a lot of money, like thousands and thousands and thousands traded on Nvidia. So
congrats.
We have a guy in our Discord that made 6 figures just on Nvidia. But it is one of our favorites.
That's amazing. Yeah, go follow Bull Barbie, you guys, and also follow Forrest. They both are into like long-term holds and investing and trading.
Well, we have one of my partners in the Discord is really into the small caps and long-term holdings. So he finds small caps that you can hold long-term sometimes too. So we've got a lot of crazy stuff going on.
My screen just froze.
My screen just froze too.
Just freeze?
I thought it was my country internet, but I think it was not this time.
So those asking for the webinar, yes, I am going to do another webinar pretty soon, probably in like 2 weeks.
Though.
We'll do another.
Did yours freeze too? Uh-oh.
Oh, we're all back.
I'm back.
Just different times.
Fine.
Oh, okay. I was worried it was just my screen. So the trade is underwater a little bit. Oh, did it just take it out? No, we're still in it. Okay, so let's welcome Luke back to talk about the giveaway that I hope you guys bought accounts, so you have a chance. Luke, come on back.
All right. This week, and this week only, we are offering 30% off of Starter Plus accounts for all of our existing users, our customers out there, those of you who have been rocking with us for quite some time now. 15 minutes ago, I said anybody who purchases a 50K Starter Plus account in this 15-minute window that just came to a close, like a beautiful candle coming to a close, is eligible to win an additional free 50K Starter Plus account. And I have the winners for you all. Are we ready?
We're ready. Let's see it.
All right. I've got an account for Maria. I've got one for our favorite French name, Guillaume. I know somebody named Guillaume. Otherwise, I would have said Guillaume. That's what it looks like. I've got an account for Nicholas. I've got an account for Victor. And I got an account for Sidant. 5 free 50K Starter Plus accounts going out to the community right now. Congratulations to all of you who won. Congratulations to all of you who didn't win, but got 30% off of the Starter Plus account. That is, as I like to call it, the best value in all of prop trading. And there you have it. Should we set a next bounty?
Yes.
Set it.
Let's do it.
All right, Terry, can I put you to work?
Yes. I love to
All right.
work.
Over the next
Okay.
15 minutes, whoever has the most interesting questions in the chat will be going home with another free 50K Starter Plus account.
Good luck, Terry.
How's that?
Question.
And if you post your question more than twice, you are disqualified.
Okay, so I get to pick the question? Is that what you're saying, Luke?
You get to, yes. I like that you said get to instead of have to.
I get
Yes,
to.
you get to.
Yes, I get to. Okay. Let's see.
But give them 15 minutes. Let them roll in.
Okay. Sounds good. So I'm excited. Speaking about questions, Francis Green is going to be on today.
All right.
Yeah.
Before Francis comes on, I think we need a few more people to like the stream. I think we need a few more people to share the stream. And a few more people to comment. Terry, what if we give away 5 free resets to anybody who shares the stream in the next 15 minutes as well?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
You like that?
I like that. Share away, you guys. Let's get some free resets. I love free resets. It's like a brand new account.
All right. Let's keep it cooking.
I'm
Back
watching
to
for some strategy or for some questions.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, I do have the 15-minute orb watching with orders on here too. So this up candle might end up hitting it. I'm watching it. Yeah, so on my screen, so I'm trading this on the MNQ. So we're on the micro NASDAQs on this chart. And I have the 15-minute range has been established. So I just put a buy market and a sell market, just a couple ticks on either side of that. So that's what I have going on there. We'll see if that gets hit.
Nice.
I'm still watching the questions. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, good questions, you guys. I'm looking at them too. So with the 15-minute orb, Barbie, like if I'm in a 5-minute orb and it's like a sell, I'm in a short, and the 15-minute orb is saying to go long, it makes me like kind of sweat.
I know. Well, it's not saying anything yet. It's not said. Right now we're just inside of the range. And the thing about the opening range is it's levels. So it can be a breakout or it can be a range level. So we can also keep projecting off of here, which is, especially when we don't have a lot of catalysts going on today, that can definitely happen. So that's what I've noticed. Like when you're first watching it, if you try to front run the orb, it can kind of be a disaster. So this is why I like this trade in the morning, is I can just literally sit back and wait to see what happens. And then I have the numbers behind me on whether or not it's going to work.
Yeah.
And I will point out, like, since we're live trading, no matter what chat says, the trade's going to work out if the trade's going to work out, and it's going to fail if it's going to fail. So
yes, we have no control over it at all. Yeah.
What
And
if we did have control? What would we do?
what was that
What would-
first?
I'm just memeing. Sorry. I'm looking at the chat. There's some serious heat in there, Terry. I don't know how you're
Some
gonna pick the
heat
best
about
one.
what? About what?
There's
I haven't been looking
some
at
good
chat.
que-
I mean, yeah, I have some good questions. I did pull out a question from Eric H. When looking at charts and levels, do you look at volume as well or strictly price? I used to look at volume a lot. I took it off my chart and now I just look at price, and I do look at volume as far as like the length of the candle. I've discovered that when the candles are really long, usually that means there's a lot of volume in that candle. So now I just mostly look at price and kind of volume in the back burner. But I do look at volume as far as like the VWAP, right? Like that's incorporating volume. It's hard not to look at both in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So you're my arch enemy, basically, Terry.
I am, because you don't look at, well, no, you look at volume too. The volume
Does
profile.
that make it an enemy? Like
I only care about volume. Look, Barbie, we're on the internet. There is no nuance here. Okay, it's either this or that.
But how? Okay, that's like, I mean, it's like asking how long is a fence. How long is a fence?
It depends. It depends how long you want the fence to be. So congratulations.
What's the fence for? What are you trying to do with the fence?
Congratulations to Eric H for winning an account. Good job. Good question. You guys have lots of good questions. Okay, I see a question from Andy Chung Real Estate. You to this point in your trading career? Ooh, that's such a good question. I think persistence. You cannot give up. And if you take breaks, it's okay. But like, I did not give up, right? Like I had to push through, walk through the fire to get onto the other side. And it's still hard. Like when we had Jake Trades on, or Rake Trades, he said like, once you get to a certain level, it's not like it's easy. It never becomes easy. You're always trying to improve. You still make mistakes. And I continue to try and make less mistakes every day. But every day I make a lot of mistakes. And the cool thing is I make money, right? Like even though I'm making mistakes, and the goal is to make less mistakes, make more money, and just continue on that journey. Also forgiving yourself, like for making really dumb mistakes and losing money. And yeah, you really do have to be able to forgive yourself, let it go, forget, and move forward with the lessons that you learned. Otherwise, you're just chasing, like you're in a bad psychological place, I think. Yeah, you have to have like a short-term memory, like forget it, it's over. What do you guys think about like what helped you get to where you are today?
Well, I think I'm seeing this is kind of a general trend in a lot of the tradings. Like everyone's trying to figure out how you avoid making mistakes. And I think you have to make the mistakes. Like that's where you learn the lessons to some extent. Like that's why this takes time to get really great at. You have to make the mistakes.
You do. I wish we could just read a book about trading and then become like the best traders on earth. That would be.
I do think reading books, getting that perspective is useful. Like I read Market Wizards, and I read Market Wizards after I my biggest loss. It was literally I lost. I tell the story all the time, right? I lost $500,000 in the desert in Egypt, and then I went and read Market Wizards. I also took a long ass break. But yeah, like Barbara said, you have to make the mistakes, and you know, you can't improve what you don't measure as well. So it just comes down to little things. Like I personally think that you have to make trading as tedious as possible. Like if you automate too many of the things up front, you lose out on the, reaping the benefit of deep understanding, right? So that's why I'm so crazy about journaling and performance tracking and doing it manually in the slow way, because that really like connects the neurons in your brain so you can just like remember. Then there's the time component. Like, if I've got 10,000 hours on the charts and you've got 50, it's just, it is what it is. Eventually you'll have 10,000, but you got to have your chart time in. There's no shortcut for chart time at all.
Forrest, what do you think it is about chart time that helps like experienced traders?
Yeah, I mean, specifically for me, because I trade like 99.99% of the time ES and NQ, I know these things like the back of my hand. So like it's so easy. Like the question asked about FOMO, like it's so easy for me now. I'll say now, the adjective, to just not care, because I have a pretty good intuition, I feel like, about what's happening, what to expect. Not maybe what's happening, but what to expect out of the day. To where my expectations now in trading sessions are hardly ever like misaligned. So it's that's really what it is. You just have to put the time in. It allows you to have that kind of internal database of trades, and then that paired with the journaling, right? It's kind of like, imagine someone who works out for a year. Every day you go to the gym, 365 days a year. You work out every single day. You work as hard as you can, but you don't track your workouts. Then the other person does the exact same thing, but they track everything. Like, who's going to be more fit? Obviously the person who, tracked their workouts. You still worked hard, right? But a lot of people work hard and then they hit that plateau or they get stuck, and it's because they refuse to ask themselves hard questions and, really push the limits of the process. So and that just takes time.
Yeah. It almost sounds like it's the market experience. The chart time is the market experience of being able to recognize what's happening in the market, being able to like be comfortable knowing, okay, like today is just a choppy day or today is a trend day, kind of to be able to recognize those different types of market conditions. Like I still after a handful of years in trading, I still am kind of like, oh, okay, like what kind of day is it today? What do my A+ setups look like? Like what I'm like, sometimes I still feel like I'm like new. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, it just doesn't get easier. No, I take that back. It does get easier, but it always feels like a challenge. Every single day does. And sometimes the challenge is to just sit on your hands and do nothing, or to get into a winning trade and then you book profits, and then the challenge is to not continue trading and just to shut it down and walk away. Yeah, I've experienced that. Barbie,
I did want to comment here that I did get tagged into this trade on the NASDAQ micros. So I do have that working over here. Y'all probably were paying attention to that too.
Yeah, I saw that.
That is what's going on there. So this is the 15-minute orb, and I target a 1-to-1 on this, but when we get to half of that distance, I'm going to trail to break even. So that might happen while somebody else is talking. So I want to tell y'all that when we get up to about halfway to the target, I'm going to trail to break even. And that's part of the money management deal that we were talking about earlier. So if you just flat out run an orb statistic and don't trail your stop, you're going to get a different result and might not be 77% win rate. Anyway, should I answer one more question before we get going?
And quick update of course, your entry for your orb means my 5-minute orb loss, which is fine. Yeah,
that's okay. We got a new one. Moving on.
Moving on.
Okay, so this will probably, I think, is our last question before we kind of move on. But we've got trading with Chenzo was asking, you would like to know how trading really changed my life, and I like this question. I picked this one because I have talked a lot about how I wanted to learn how to read charts and trade to make money. And what I found is that I learned how to read charts and become more fit and become more disciplined and eat better and be more healthy in general. I'm more disciplined. I have a better routine. So when you improve your trading, you're improving things that improve your life too. So it can kind of become an all around thing there. So I like that a lot. And so my trail, before I get in the way of somebody else talking, my trail level on NASDAQ is about 21,330. So
Thank you
that
for
note,
the update, Barbie. So we have our special guest here, Francis Green. I'm so excited. Francis, do you want to jump in with us and trade the markets?
Hey, how are we doing, everyone? We all good?
We're good.
good morning, Francis. I was
Good
excited that you're coming on because I am in a football house. We call it soccer here, but that's okay.
Yeah, soccer. It's soccer for you guys. Yeah.
Welcome. What time is it? You're in the UK, right?
It's 3 p.m. UK. 3 p.m.
Good afternoon.
Good day. What's happening, Forrest?
How's it going, man? How are you?
I'm okay. Good to see you, Barbie. I've seen quite a bit of your content, both of you, over the last 12,
fancy.
18 months.
I love that.
Yeah, 12, 18 months. So.
Cool, man.
Yeah, share with our audience a little bit about how you got into trading.
Well, that's a long story, so I'll try and keep it short. Terry, you already know me that I do like to speak, so I need to curb that. So
no, you're a good speaker.
This is your time.
Yeah,
don't curb it.
I got into it after professional sports, knowing that I couldn't work a job or have a boss, and I was looking at ways to make money and improve my life. And I went on the Tony Robbins route 10 years ago, and for some reason, about 7 years ago, I came across trading, and I've been in it ever since. So, first 3 or 4 years was a messing around. You don't know what you're doing. You know, this strategy, that strategy, try and make money, lose money, get scammed, all the usual things we have to go through. And then the last 4 years, decided to obviously go all in and then get a system behind that. And then, it just started working. Once I implemented everything, it just started working. So it became quite simple once I understood what I was doing.
Yeah, share with us a little bit of your trading strategy.
So what's brought me success is I only trade from extreme levels. So I'm only really looking at previous daily highs, previous daily lows. And I like Asia high and Asia low because I mainly trade London.
Mm-hmm.
And then internal Fibonacci's. If they line up with a naked point of control, value area high, value area low, I will look for a Fibonacci entry. So they're my 4 levels that I look from. I don't look to trade from anything else. I'm currently in this long now from the Fibonacci. So
can you share your screen?
I can share my screen. Yeah, let me share.
Yeah, if you click on present.
Where are we? There we are.
Forrest, Francis Green trades like you.
I know Forrest likes volume. He loves the volume.
He said 2 words that I liked. He said point of control, volume, edges. But yeah.
Yeah, I heard some value area high, value area low in there.
Yeah.
I harp a lot about not caring about RR, but it's just because if you trade the high and the low of the day, it's the best RR you'll get. It's a little secret. That's what I talk about all the time, but I love it, man.
I mean, I don't trade New York, but I thought I'll try and get in a trade as I knew I was coming on with everyone. So yeah, I was just looking at this sell-off here, and then I had a Fibonacci literally from the Asia low to the London high, this is the Asia low, this was my London high. Pull a fib, and that fib just lined up perfectly. So I just jumped in this trade here. I did wait for a little bit of confirmation on this 5-minute slight bullish candle here. And yeah, it's played out perfectly. So it makes me look like I'm a really good trader. Doesn't always work out like that.
You are a very good trader. We were just discussing like losses and how as professional traders, you do have losses, right? It's not 100% win rate. How do you deal? What? Francis, how do you deal with losses?
Oh, I think that's the hardest thing in trading, to be honest. If you are I'm from a sporting background, but if you're from a background where you like to win, then trading is very, very hard at the beginning because you want to win every trade. You don't feel like you're progressing unless you're winning. So for me, it was very hard to accept losing. So then I had to just bring, psychology into those things and read a few other books that were just trading related rather than self-development related. And then that helped. And then understood that this is a long-term process. So I must lose, just like any sports. You're going to lose way more than you're going to win in sports. It's just the way that it works. So I've brought a lot of that previous career into my mindset in relation to trading, and that's what's really helped me in that sense. But I think accepting losses at the beginning is very, very hard. Very hard. I think that's more to do with being in the markets. I think you just have to accept it. The longer you're in the markets, it's just part of the game. But it's probably the hardest thing, I think, for most traders.
Yeah. So I've heard another trader say, in life, typically, we don't learn how to lose. In sports, people learn how to lose because, right, you lose often when you're playing sports, and you learn how to lose and you learn how to come back and just keep playing harder and learning from your mistakes and improving. But like if you grew up not playing sports, it's hard to, it's a whole new arena of learning how to lose.
There are so many good sports analogies in trading. Like, I really love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If it wasn't for, I've got to be honest, if it wasn't for sports, then I probably would not have been able to have achieved most of the things that I have after sports. Sports at any level, even if it's not a high level or professional level, whether that's, doesn't matter what sports you do, it just develops. Forrest trains, he's into his workouts. I know Barbie, she's a soccer mom, I imagine. Is that the right? So
my kids did never get into it. I was a soccer player.
Oh,
I
you're the
cannot
soccer
convince
player.
them to play.
Okay.
It drives me crazy. But okay.
So anything to do with discipline and putting yourself in voluntary adversity is really going to help in trading. And working out and sports, whether that's marathon running, whether that's whatever it is, you are putting yourself through adversity. No one really wants to go on the treadmill. No one really wants to do these things. But the results are massive, and that conditions your brain to be dealing with adversity. So in trading,
that's actually why I like sport, because it gives me that. If you just tell me to go run a mile, I'm going to dread it. But if you go tell me to run a mile because it's going to give me more endurance to run up the field, then I have motivation behind it.
Yeah,
and we have that in trading too. There's motivation behind it. If you do well, you get paid.
Yeah, that's, well, not as a runner, but yeah, it's funny because I mean, I was a runner, so like for me, like our sport was your guys' punishment. As runners are all every high level runner. There's something wrong in their heads because.
Well, so I played wing midfield, so I had to run the most, and I actually hate just running to run. But if you give me a job to do, I've got to go deliver this, to get this ball and deliver it up the field. Now I have a mission that I need to accomplish, and that's
like me. I don't mind running. I like running now, but it has to be a challenge behind it or something.
Yeah.
And recently, I don't know if you heard of Hyrox training. Probably Forrest has heard of this Hyrox. So I've just completed this Hyrox, and the training is brutal, but because it's an event and because it's competitive, it was okay for me to put myself through that brutal training. But if someone just told me now, go and do some sledge push and sledge pulls and do all the things, I would just say, no, I'm not doing it today. So the challenge is,
how could somebody leverage that, right? So let's imagine someone's like, they're not where you are in your journey as a trader, right? And it seems like there's all this stuff in front of them, right?
Yeah.
I need to figure out setups. I need to journal. There's so many different types of systems. Like, what would be your advice to them to like create like that miniature challenge, right? Like, what was your approach to actually applying some of the lessons that you learned into your trading, and what were the things that you did to make it more manageable?
Yeah, I think one, obviously the number one thing is we must not concentrate on the monetary value. We know that. But I think what's helped me recently as well, more so than any other time, is I've tried to make my dopamine hit come from following the process. Because in sports or anything, we have this dopamine, and every day we have this dopamine. And the dopamine is normally attached to the wrong things. So I've recently started to attach dopamine to following the process. So I get happy or try and get a buzz if I follow the process. So if I would have known that 2-3 years ago, and this is what I tell students now or people that I work with, can you get rid of these self-sabotaging dopamine things? So chasing money, trying to quit your 9 to 5, you know, these young boys that want Lambos or whatever they want to do with their money. Can you switch that to the dopamine coming from following the process and you creating a skill? It's a big shift in mindset. But if I knew that before, that would have been something that I would have wanted to implement earlier. It's not simple. It might sound complex, but it's that mindset shift. I think you must somehow shift your mindset from the way that we're built, our neurochemistry, into a new mindset for trading, because I think you do need a completely different mindset to everybody else when it comes to trading. Systems is going to be the easiest way. You must stick to a system, and you must have a system list, like Forrest, volume. If it's not, he's not messing around with Elliott waves. He's not messing around with other things. That's his process. That's his system. Barbie now with the orb. That's her process. That's her system. With Terry can be a bit wild with her size, so that might be her system. But
she's inspiring me though to put the size on. She is, because she's using those prop accounts real nice. So
it's wild. Yeah, it's wild. But that's a system that she's building. So I would say systemizing your approach is probably the easiest, most productive, I wouldn't say easiest, but most productive way and shortcut to coming into trying to get out from the beginner and trying to get to that intermediate level, to be honest.
It's almost like as a beginner, you're first learning different styles of trading, different systems. And then once you pick something, it's like learning how to stick with whatever it is that you're picking.
Yeah. I think it does take you a while. I just did a video the other day about most of us don't even know our personality type. So you may be following a trading strategy, or you may be following a trader who is the complete opposite to the way that you are as a person. Because you don't know your personality type, that might not resonate with you. But you might, so you're like banging your head against the wall, and you might be doing that for far too long. So I'm contrarian. So I like to do the opposite to everybody else. So I'm a reversal trader. It sits well with me. I don't like continuation trading. So I didn't figure that out until I understood me as an individual. So I think if you don't understand you as an individual, then how are you going to know what type of trading you're going to take, how you're going to learn, how do you digest information, all these things. So number one, just go and get the Briggs personality test, which is free online, and just see what personality you are. And that will answer 99%
I think that's
of the
really,
questions.
really great. I had a great mentor. I mean, he's a really, really awesome trader. His system is so systematic and methodical that it's hard for me. I need a little bit of a blend between art and science for me to be really effective. And so even though he makes tons of money and he does really, really great, and he trades nothing like me, it wasn't for me. I really love that point.
Yeah, it wasn't for you, you know. So sometimes the way someone trades, everybody's making thousands of dollars, tons of money, and you think, oh, well, maybe I can do what they do, but it just might not be that suits you as an individual, your unique edge. And that's why all of our systems, everybody that is on the show today, would have probably accumulated many, many different ways of trading from many different coaches and books and personality traits, and created their own kind of way of trading. And I think
That's why
everybody
I
has
always
their
try
own
to
way of trading.
I try to inspire more than teach people to copy me.
Yeah.
I don't know if
yeah,
that always
exactly.
comes through. Some people get really frustrated, like, no, just tell me what button to push and when. It's like, no, I want you to be inspired to create your own process, because that's what's going to really be the difference maker.
Yeah, because even if you know, like you say, Barbie, you can copy, you can teach someone, they can copy you, they can sit next to you and still get it wrong.
Yeah.
They're digesting this.
I've had that
whatever's
same thing.
wrong.
When I was
Yeah.
first developing this system, I was giving people levels and ideas, and they were making more money than I was off of my own trades.
Yeah.
But that does happen. Like, it's a process.
Yeah, it's a process. I know there's some people in our community that, and sometimes they make more trades and more money than me, and I'm like, how's that happening? In my head, I'm like, how's that happening? But maybe they've taken more trades, maybe they've moved their stop loss, maybe they haven't. Whatever it may be, everybody's slightly different. But yeah, I think once you've got something that you resonate with, then you create your own edge around that system, to create your own system.
Mm-hmm.
And to reinforce that process is what I heard you say, like with the dopamine, reinforcing, did I stick with my system versus trying to reinforce, like, did I win or did I lose?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, the dopamine, it's easier. I'm a middle-aged man. So me telling my 20-year-old self about dopamine, I would have just called myself this old man. I would have never listened.
Sit down, boomer.
Yeah, sit down. You don't know what you're talking about. But now, because my daughters, they're like, no, dad. And I'm like, trust me, this is what you need to do. But trying to get rid of the dopamine hit that most people, and you know, the TV, the marketing, everything's designed to take our attention and create this dopamine. You can change that into, maybe you get a dopamine from sticking to a certain diet plan, or sticking to running every day, or sticking to whatever these things, or sticking to 10 pages a day, or drinking water a day. If you can switch your dopamine to those things that are going to improve you on a daily basis, then trading is just going to be a byproduct of your day-to-day discipline. Because I truly believe you can't be a good trader if you're not disciplined, as in other areas in your life. I'm sure there is anomalies, but I very much doubt that.
I always ask people, my favorite question to ask people whenever they tell me about their goals is like, all right, what have you done over the last 5 days? Right? Like, if a third party came and observed you and you didn't tell them anything, would they be able to figure out what your dreams and aspirations are just based off of observing you? For a lot of traders, the answer is no, because, you know, they treat it like a hobby or like the casino. And, you know, that third party would just be like, oh, you're a DJ gambler, you're not a trader. Right.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree. And it's really the boring, it's that boring tedium. Like, once you love like, I'm a heavily process oriented guy. My days are like the same. I eat the same foods. I go to the same places. I know it sounds boring, but like, I try to eliminate as many choices as possible so that I can like maximize thinking about stuff that matters, whether it's trading, running my business. Yeah. It's just, I mean, if you can organize your life in that way, it's going to be so much easier, because you don't wake up every day trying to figure out what to do today. Right. I know exactly what every day for the rest of the year looks like. You know, it looks very similar to today. Same for trading. I don't need to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow. I already know what I'm going to do tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So I love that, man. I think that's
just makes it so much easier. So much easier. Yeah. Like, I only wear black clothes. And people say, why? Because in my 20s, I was the guy that was wearing the bathing ape pink hoodie. And everybody's like, well, you only wear black t-shirts. You only wear black now everywhere I go. And I was just, it's simple. I don't want to make a decision of what I want to wear in the morning. I can't be bothered. Yeah. I just want to get up, put my t-shirt on, and then I want to trade. Because you only have a certain amount of energy, and they call it decisional fatigue, I believe, later on in the day, where you just run out of focus and ideas. So if you are creative, or you are a trader and you work out and you have a family, and then you need to work on your business, you only have a certain amount of energy per day. So I don't want to waste it on what I want to eat. What clothes shall I put on today to go on YouTube? I don't want none of that. So, if you can systemize, and like Forrest was saying, it seems boring, but you're never bored. I'm never bored. But it seems boring to the outside world. But if you can do that, then, you can do what you want. You can have what you want if you systemize your life. It's not hard. It's not hard.
I personally get joy, and I wonder if you're the same way. I get joy out of knowing that by being like organizing my life in a certain way, I literally will get what I want. It's like, yes, it's delayed gratification, but there's like a high degree of certainty of like, I will win.
You will win. Statistically, you think about, there isn't many things that if you do the work on a long enough period that it wouldn't work. There isn't many things. So having that joy of, statistically, if I do something for long enough and it's productive, it's more than likely going to work. That's gonna change the game. I'm out of this long, by the way. I took profits.
I was just telling chat, I booked the NASDAQ.
Good job, guys.
Nice.
I was
nice
about to mention.
So Francis, what made you decide where profits on with your system?
So first of all, I took a little bit off at the previous daily high. So yesterday's high, I took a little bit here, even though we had this strong candle, and then I took the rest here. I was going to leave some for the naked point of control, which I have at 21.4 from that higher range. But I decided to just close it now. So
nice trade. Francis, do you want to help us give away a few accounts? What do you think?
Yeah, cool. It'd be great. I think we've got some people in the community. So if they win it, it's not a setup. I'm just letting you know.
It's not rigged.
It's not rigged. Okay.
Okay, chat. Let's ask Francis some questions. And then Francis, if you want to pick, let's do 3 questions. And
let us know who asked it to.
Yeah, if you can let us know, type in our studio chat, and that way we can get them the free account. So it's a free 50K starter plus account. Questions for Francis, you guys?
So do you want me to pick the best question?
Yes, any question that you would like to answer.
A few good ones. Any good standouts, you can pick a few. I know it moves really fast.
Moving very fast here.
Yeah, find some standouts that sometimes there's kind of a theme, so I'll pick one that kind of encapsulates that theme really well.
They're going very fast.
Yeah, if sometimes I'll like click on it and then it'll help freeze it.
Yeah, sometimes my channel is 10 trading. It's not reset. Some people that's my old channel. I don't really put anything on there. So
10 trading.
10 trading, yeah.
A ton of really good content with like psychology and how to improve. Really good content, you guys. Go follow Francis at 10 trading.
And hopefully we have that linked as well. They usually link it in the description. That's always easier for me with my typos.
Yeah, I like this first question from Ethan. He's saying, what was the reaction from family and friends when they found out you wanted to trade, and how did that affect your trading? I think that's an important one because I'm massive on your environment, your circles, your environment, what you do, where you are at. So I would say if you can, I would keep it to myself, because that's going to help a hell of a lot of distractions, expectations, because people will ask you every single week, how's that trading going? How much money did you make? And you'll have to tell them that you're losing every week for a very long time, probably. That's not going to help you confidence-wise. So I would say try and keep it to yourself for as long as possible to that one. Unless you're the type of person that it doesn't affect. But if you're a person who gets affected by other people's opinions or things like that, then I would keep trading to yourself and I would learn it. And then once I got to a level where I felt confident, then I would, let people know what I was doing. But I wouldn't.
I think it's really hard. Yeah, like people have a perception of what day trading is, and it's actually very different. I mean, that's something that I learned. That was an eye opener when I started doing this. It's not what I thought it was. So people are coming to you with the perspective of what they think it is, which is not what it is. So part of it's like education. So these days, I just kind of joke around about it more because people will say, "Oh, well, what should I invest in?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm not an investor. I'm just a finance bro." Like, I found more fun ways to answer that where I don't have to like defend myself and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the same. I remember I was in crypto for a very long time, and then people see Bitcoin price and they're like, "Well, you must have millions." And I'm like, doesn't quite work like that. You know, I had to go through the 8 years of troubles. But, you know, people just think it's easy. So, but yeah, I would keep it to myself. Yeah.
Great question.
Thank God we're on YouTube.
To keep it a secret, you mean, Forrest?
Well, the chat doesn't all have YouTube channels. I know a couple of them do.
Yeah.
I've noticed some of the biggest trolls, you go click on them and they're telling you exactly what you're doing wrong. You go click on them. They've got 3 subscribers. It's like, okay, thanks. Take that advice.
It is hard if people think that now that you're a trader, that you're going to make a ton of money. And sometimes family and friends might keep asking.
Some days I do.
Yeah.
I don't tell them the extent of that either. Cause then, I mean, I was in real estate too. So everyone was looking, oh, you made $30,000 selling that house. And they think I make $30,000 every paycheck. It's like, okay, but I didn't get a paycheck for 3 months. Like,
yeah, it's like it takes 12 weeks to go through. Then I get paid.
Yeah.
And we have slow seasons and we have fast seasons. So it's not consistently that way. And trading is kind of the same way. I'll have big windfall days. And I could brag about that, but then everyone assumes that you do that every day. It's like, oh, you make $20,000 every day. It's like, no, I make $20,000 on a great day. On a bad day, I make nothing or lose money.
Yeah. What's this one here? This one's not bad. Casper Ruinous, I think his name is, or her. I'm not sure. It says, how were the 4 years that when you were struggling and not profitable? What advice for those that are stuck? One thing I would say is you need some sort of other income while you're learning how to trade. I've done it where you go in and you don't have any other income and you think you can earn money straight away. You need to have some other source of income to keep your head above water while you're not profitable for 2, 3, 4 years, or however long it's going to take you. Because your decisions and this is common sense, but your decisions will be affected massively if you are trading for money. So you must have some sort of income to keep your head above water. If you have a family, keep the roof above the family's head while you're learning this skill. Because it's going to take you, and that it's going to take you longer. It's just going to take you longer. And most likely you will quit and you'll probably never be able to reap the rewards of trading, because surviving with no money for 2, 3, 4 years is probably not going to be 90% of the population. So probably more. So definitely have a different source of income while you're doing this. If you have a skill, try and make money from that skill just to survive. And then you'll know whether you like trading enough to obviously pursue it on that front. But if you say to yourself, I'm probably not going to make no money for 3 years here, then straight from the off, you kind of conditioning your mind for that delayed gratification and you're going to be okay. So I would say that you definitely need another streams of income, in my personal opinion. And that's what I tell people. Yeah,
to make it through that learning curve. 100%, to give yourself a fair chance, right? Like, otherwise,
most people don't even give themselves the chance. We've all been through the stage where we buy evals and we blow them, and we buy evals and we blow them the same day, and we've all been through that stage. We go on tilt, but when you think about it, we just wasn't giving ourselves any chance whatsoever. To get through that.
I'm
If you see any
curious, side
questions,
note,
everybody, let me know.
if we reject 21,378 here, we did touch it. This was the like a medium time frame edge here on the volume profile. So we have a little bit of top click here. Curious if we're going to keep building value, it move higher, or if this is going to be the high of the day here. We'll see.
I think
Yes,
that you should
looks
title
very-
your next webinar "Edging with Forrest."
There you go.
That's a
You'll get some
Different
views
function.
there.
Oh, this is a good one. I like this one. Donato. Do you have a particular diet routine to avoid depression and stress? I wouldn't say suppose not suppose it's a diet, but eating the right foods. So obviously that's going to help, because bad foods are going to lead to bad decisions. Bad decisions inflames depression, and then it's a spiral compound effect. So I would just say, there's nothing wrong with having bad foods every so often, but as long as it's not an everyday thing. But routines will actually cut out most of the things that will trigger your depression and stress. It's quite funny because I very rarely get stressed, or I think I've been depressed once in my life, but I don't do that because I'm always trying to do the next thing, or I'm always trying to improve to do the next thing. So Andy Fischella talks about it, and Bedros Keuilian speak about it, as in relation to, if you're always trying to improve, there's no time for depression. There's no time for stress. These things are amplified when we have time to add to the stress, or we have time to think about how depressed we are, and we do the actions that cause to depression. So if we don't do those things, we're not going to get them. So, there's many things. I'm not going to come on here like a doctor, but we all know if you do the wrong things in life, it's going to add to your depression if you already feel down or stress. So, I've never been depressed. Even when I've had challenging times, I've slapped myself around the face and said, we can't allow that to come in. That is a mindset thing. And stress, I study Stoicism. So stress is probably not part of my life. I read quite a lot of Marcus Aurelius, Ryan Holiday, Seneca, Lucius, all these things. And if I ever think about getting stressed, I just think about what they had to do. And then I throw some cold water, not like the Anton guy, but, normal water. And then we go from there. So I think decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis will lead to either uplifting you or they will bring you down. It's common sense, but they are. If you eat the right foods, don't work out, drink alcohol, take drugs, consume terrible content, eat Doritos all day, guess what? You're more than likely going to be depressed at some stage.
You might turn into a Dorito. I don't know.
Yeah. Your parents used to say you might turn into a Dorito, but
trading is like sports in that when you take care of your body and your mind, you have better results.
I believe you need to. I really think you need to be physically active, mentally always kind of reading, improving, self-reflecting on yourself, because it keeps you in check for trading. It keeps you in check when the trade's going against you, or when you get FOMO, or when you lose too much money. You need the emotional intelligence to deal with that, or again, it's not going to work out for you. So I preach that you must think like an athlete or a CEO or something like that to do well in trading. That's what I think. Yeah,
agree.
100%.
Thank you, Francis. Thanks for coming on and sharing all of your knowledge with us.
It's good. Anytime.
We loved having you on. What's the best way for everyone to continue following you and learning more?
On 10 Trading over on YouTube. I do have an Instagram. I don't really move it that much. I'm trying to get active on Instagram. I've deleted about 20 accounts over the last decade or whatever, so I'll try it again. Yeah.
And what's your current Instagram handle?
Francis J_Green.
Thank you, Francis. Thanks for coming on.
No, it's been a pleasure. Good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice
and
to meet you.
Thanks for
Have a good
thinking
look for
out
the rest
good
of the day.
questions. Thank you. You too.
We have a ghost. I guess it's over here.
Uh-oh.
Somebody's coming on.
Oh, I'm
It's
back.
scary.
Oh, that was so cool. Thank you,
What a
Francis,
great
for coming
guest.
on. Right? It was so interesting to hear about like the emphasis on discipline and like reinforcing the process and dopamine.
Love that perspective.
Both you guys, Forrest and Barbie, talk about discipline.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's welcome on Ash for the next show. Thank you, Barbie. Thank you, Forrest, for all your insights and expertise.
We'll do it again tomorrow. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it tomorrow.
Another orb tomorrow for y'all. How about that?
Yes, the 5 and the 15, hopefully.
We'll step y'all through it.
Bye, guys. Have a good day. Oh, Ash. Where's Ash? Hey, Barbie. I don't think you're
Ash is
Ash. Hey, Ash. How's it going?
Good morning. How are we doing today?
Good morning. Good. Made some money on the show. Well, I didn't make money on the show. I made money before the show, but Barbie made some money. 10 Trading made some money. How about you? Any good trades this morning?
So no position for me to start the week. I am looking at what's currently on my screen. I'm going to talk about that today, but no entry was taken there. So something to talk about, and a couple different reasons why no entry was taken. Other than that, was your position a winner?
Yeah, before the show, I had winners, and then during the show, I did the 5-minute orb, and that lost, but no biggie. Just another trade, right?
Overall green on the day, though, or
Yeah.
Very
Overall,
nice.
So I started my live account today.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's up $397 is the
Very
P&L.
nice way to start the account.
Right? Congratulations on your live account too.
Yeah, second week for my live account. Currently green as well. I had 2 trades last week that worked out well, and we'll see what this week has for us.
Congratulations. Well, I will let you take this show over. Have a great stream, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks. You too.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning or good day, depending on where you're from. Welcome back to another segment with me. Very excited to get back on here with everyone. New week, new opportunities. Another chance to continue to gain more conviction in our business. So, how's everybody doing so far? We had a long weekend. In my opinion, I don't participate on bank holidays. That is a time that is a scheduled break. That is something that we've spoke about, and I'll speak about it again a little bit today. But bank holidays are one of the days I don't participate. Yes, the market was open until about 1 p.m. yesterday. Other than that, I don't participate on bank holidays because you don't really know what you're going to get in terms of volatility for it. On top of it being Memorial Day, for the individuals that participate in Memorial Day, it's a time to be with your family and your friends. So very good to have scheduled breaks. We want to always be thinking in terms of the long-term health of our business. So having those scheduled breaks is very important. Gives you time to reset, recalibrate, recharge the battery, refocus the mind. It's a very good way to, manage your risk. Having scheduled breaks is a very good risk management strategy. So throw a 1 in chat if you traded during the bank holiday. Throw a 2 in the chat if you did not. I want to see how everybody else reacts to the bank holidays as well. So throw a 1 in the chat if you participated yesterday during the bank holiday, or throw a 2 in the chat if you took advantage of a nice 3-day weekend. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so a bunch of 1s, so it looks like a bunch of people did participate yesterday. A bunch of 2s as well, so it looks a little 50-50. Okay. Very interesting. I'm not here to say what's right or wrong. Okay. You're either green or red at the end of the day. It's a matter of understanding your business, having risk management measures, making those independent decisions, and owning them. So whether you did or didn't participate, completely okay. If you did participate, hopefully you ended green. If you didn't participate, hopefully you had some fun having a little barbecue, spending time with your family. All right, so let's get into today's session. Next question I want to ask for chat is, are we bullish or are we bearish? So throw that in the chat as well. Throw bull in the chat if you're a bull today. Throw a bear in the chat if you're a bearish today. I'm going to go over my information here any minute. Just seeing how the community is doing, seeing how everybody's week is starting off so far, and then we'll get into the information. Okay, bunch of bulls so far. We got some bears in there too. Looks like there's more bulls than bears though. Okay. Okay. Very good. All right, so I'm going to go through my top-down analysis, get prepared for this week, take a look at a bias, draw on liquidity, create a game plan, and execute the game plan. That's what it comes down to day to day, okay? Being able to clearly define your model, being able to clearly define your edge, and strictly adhering risk management to execute that edge. So let's take a look. Let's get out here on the daily chart. Now, for the people that have been spending time with me here, they understand how I create a bias. I'll do a quick recap of it right now so everybody can understand. This is how I create a bias. I get on the daily chart. When I'm on the daily chart, I'm looking to answer one question. Where is price currently located? I only use a couple different locations. I want to make it as simple as possible. Simplicity brings clarity. Okay, I don't use hundreds of different concepts. I just use a couple different concepts so I could clearly identify how to move forward each day. For me, price is either located above a swing high or inside of a bearish FVG. Those two locations give me a bearish bias. Okay. When price is above a swing high or inside of a bearish FVG, that gives me a bearish bias. Or price is below a swing low or inside of a bullish FVG, that gives me a bullish bias. Okay, so on the daily chart, I'm analyzing the daily chart. I'm trying to figure out if price is below a swing low or inside of a bullish FVG, that would give me a bullish bias, or above a swing high or inside of a bearish FVG, that would give me a bearish bias. So heading into today's session, it was very clear that price had found some support from a bullish imbalance, right? This is a bullish FVG right here. For this reason, this gave me a bullish bias. Therefore, I'm looking for a move to the swing high here. So I'm bullish. Price is finding support at a bullish imbalance. I'm looking for a move from this bullish imbalance to the swing high. It's made a beautiful move so far. The next thing that I would want to talk about is draw on liquidity. Once again, it's going to sound real repetitive with me because I really only use a few different concepts. I execute during New York Open. I create a bias. I look for a clear draw on liquidity. I execute my entry function. That's all it is. For draw on liquidity, right? Whatever price is reaching for, I use equal highs and equal lows, right? It's very clear to see that the Tuesday high and the Wednesday high of last week created equal highs. Therefore, this is my target. So now I have a bullish bias. Now I have a draw in liquidity. I'm looking for a move to the equal highs on the daily chart. Okay, so we'll leave this here. That way we can understand the target. Now for the next thing, I use the unicorn model. The unicorn model is a swing low, swing high, a new low, then a new high. This is a bullish breaker. And then I want to see an FVG aligned with the breaker. So that's what the unicorn model is. It's a breaker plus an FVG. And then I enter at the beginning of the breaker with a stop at the low, aiming for 2R. So there's my entry function. So now we've gone over the entire game plan, the top-down analysis to understand how or why I do things. This is me and my edge. This is how I execute my edge. This is how I define my risk management and how I execute my risk management. So you saw the daily bullish bias. You saw the daily equal highs. And now taking a look at current price action, you can see that we do have a bullish entry function. You have a swing low, you have a swing high, you have a new low, then a new high. Right? So you have a bullish breaker right here. And the bullish breaker also has an FVG aligned with it. So I'm currently looking at this right here as a bullish unicorn. All right, so this would be the bullish unicorn right here. Entry would be from the beginning of the breaker. They stop loss at the low, aiming for 2R. Okay, so that's my information for today. That is me conducting my business. That is my edge. That is me executing the edge and defining the risk to do that. Now, to move forward with that idea, you can see why I didn't have any executions this morning. Because the moment my entry function was confirmed, price never retraced back into it before moving higher. So there's two different ways of executing this edge. There are the individuals that front run, right? Front runners are people that market order into a position the very first time that their position is confirmed, right? So people that market ordered during this candle here, right? So people could have market ordered the 10 a.m. candle. Those are the front runners, and they're nicely in profit. So good job to the front runners. That's the first way of executing the edge. The second way of executing the edge is waiting for a retracement back to the location that you enter from, then getting your position to target your target. This is the one that I choose to execute instead of front running, so you can see why there was no position taken here. It never retraced back to the entry function before moving higher. All right, so patience is truly a virtue. You do not need to execute every single day. There will be a lot of times in this business that are spent doing nothing. And that's currently the position that I'm sitting in today, doing nothing, right? You can see that I'm in my live account here. You can see that there's no position shown on the screen. There's no execution arrows. There's no nothing. That's because there was no position taken. So being objective to the information is very important. Being objective to today's information is, it looks like bias was correct. Being bullish was a good idea. It looks like we got our entry function. It looks like it's working out properly. It's moving higher. But being objective to the information, since I'm the individual that waits for the retest back to the entry function before moving higher, I didn't get a position. And I'm okay with that. Okay, so less is more. Quality over quantity. Now that I've completed my information, that is my top-down analysis. That's what I'm going to be looking at for today. As we're waiting and watching, I'm going to go ahead and look to see if we can do another giveaway. Okay. I'm going to keep the same theme as everybody else. We'll do, what do you say? Let's, how about 3 of the most intriguing questions or interesting questions? Throw in chat a very valuable question. I want to talk about this business. I want to talk about anything regarding this business. Risk management, mental or psychological intelligence, your trading model, anything regarding this business. I want it to provide value for everybody that's watching. I don't want anything that's funny or comical. We're not talking about my personal life. I want to provide value for the individuals that are watching. So throw a very valuable question in the chat. We'll pick out a couple different questions. Some of the most valuable questions will end up winning a giveaway account. Okay, so I'll give you guys some time to throw those questions in chat. I'll give a few minutes for that so everybody gets a fair chance to ask some questions. Then we'll get over to chat and pick out some very valuable questions. While you're doing that, like the stream, sub to the channel, turn the notifications on. That way you can be notified for when we go live again. We're doing this every single week. Looking to provide value every chance we can through talking about mental and emotional intelligence for day trading, talking about different trades that we take each day, bringing on expert guests and talking through other different models or systems, giving away thousands and thousands of accounts every chance we can. We're trying to provide as much value every single week. So like the video, sub to the channel, turn the notifications on. For anybody that's just now joining, once again, we are putting valuable questions into chat right now. I'm giving just a couple minutes for people to ask valuable questions. I want the question to be about trading, anything regarding this trading business. We're looking to provide some value regarding this trading business. So throw questions in there. The winners that provide the most valuable question will win a giveaway. So as you guys are doing that, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and then I'll go through some of the questions. All righty. Thank you for the patience. Going to head over to chat in just another minute. Start to go over the questions. All right. I'm going to start scrolling through chat to find a valuable question. Give me a couple seconds here. There's a lot of questions, so let me find. I'm going to have to read a couple of them. Let's take a look. It's going to take a couple seconds. There's a lot of questions, so give me a minute. I'm reading through the questions now. Lots of questions. Very good job, everyone. I'm reading through them. Give me a minute. There are so many questions. Trying to pick out some very valuable questions here. Wow, lots of great questions. This is going to be a hard one, so still reading through the questions. Going to pick out a question here any second now. All right, so here's going to be the first winner. Very good job. Like I said, we're throwing questions in chat right now regarding trading. I'm going to pick out a couple very valuable questions. I want to provide value to the community, so make your question regarding any part of this trading business. So this is a very clear question that will help a lot of people, and that's why this will be the first winner. Abel is asking, how do you recommend new traders develop a trading plan, and what key elements should they include to ensure its effectiveness? So very good question, Abel. Let me just read that one more time so everybody could hear it. How do you recommend new traders develop a trading plan, and what key elements should they include to ensure its effectiveness? So it's very hard in the beginning to understand how to create a trading plan because markets are open majority of the time. So to me, the first element in creating a trading plan is defining the time that you're going to set aside to trading. Make a specific window of time that works regarding the markets and regarding your daily life. Okay. So let's answer this question in a couple different segments. The market opening times are very important. Okay. So Asia open, London open, New York open. Those are important fundamental times, right? For example, all the news drivers come out during New York open. This is one of the reasons why I participate in New York Open. Its effectiveness is shown simply by the volatility being induced through those news drivers. You don't see news drivers during Asia session. You don't see news drivers during London session. They specifically chose to make the news drivers occur during New York AM session. Fundamentally, that means something to however the market works. Okay, so it shows the importance of time. The second importance of time is your undivided attention. What works best for your daily schedule, right? Your work schedule, your family schedule, your daily responsibilities, your health schedule. What time can you specifically dedicate to learning this business? For me, I'm in the US and I'm on the East Coast, so getting to participate in New York Open is the undivided attention I could give during my day. Okay, so I know that 9:30 to 11, 9:30 to 12 is when I can focus solely on trading. For that reason, along with the news drivers, I set aside a time from a little bit before New York Open so I can prepare for it up until about lunchtime. That is the time window I set for myself to be executing this business. And I strictly adhere to that. Outside of those times, I work on health, I work on other businesses. I don't take any risk in terms of day trading. Okay, so time would be the first element I would tell a new trader for developing a trading plan. Okay. The next thing that I would say to a new trader is get a journal. It doesn't matter if you use a social media. It doesn't matter if you open a blank Discord. It doesn't matter if you open a blank Notion channel. Use some kind of system to document. You need to start collecting data, because when you collect enough data to the point where you see reoccurring themes within your data, that's when you start developing an edge. You'll start to see certain things happening over and over again. And you can see that by collecting that data. So journaling is extremely important. So the first two things that I would say to a new trader trying to develop a game plan is understand the time that you're going to execute and when you're going to be able to provide your undivided attention to this business. Then start journaling and collecting data. Collect so much data that it provides conviction. All of that experience that you get from collecting that data is going to help you understand how or why you do things within trading. So remember the importance of time. Use your time as effectively as possible. And journal as much as you can. Collect as much data as you can. That's where I would tell a new trader to start in creating a trading plan. Very good job, Abel. Abel will be the first winner. I'm going to take a screenshot of this so I can save this, and then we will contact you. Very good job. So that is the first winner of the giveaway. Right now, we're currently doing a giveaway for 3 of the most valuable questions. We just picked 1 trader so far. Very good job, Abel. He won the first giveaway. What we're doing is throwing a very valuable question in chat. Throw a question in chat that is related to trading. I want to provide value to the community by answering questions related to trading. I'll pick 2 more winners. So there will be 2 more giveaways for 2 very valuable questions that are put into chat. I'll give you guys another minute or 2 to throw another question in there. Give everybody a chance to provide some value for the community. And I'm going to start reading the questions again, and we'll pick out a second winner. Currently going through the questions. Very good job, and thank you for everybody that's participating. Very good questions. I'm reading through a bunch of them. Going to pick out another question here any second now. Once again, we are putting valuable questions in chat. I'm going to pick out 2 more winners for somebody that provides a question regarding trading. Reading through the questions. If you give me 1 more second, I'm trying to get through as many questions as I can to pick a very valuable question. Very good job to everybody that's participating. Okay, here's another very good question. And if I say anybody's name wrong, I'm sorry. Please feel free to correct me. Austin Chang. Austin Chang is asking, what personal aspects of your life did you have to improve on in order to become a successful trader? Amazing question, because honestly, I truly believe that 80% of this business is mental and 20% of this business is executing. So it's 80% in your mind and 20% on the chart. The first thing that I had to improve on was patience. I was an athlete in college, so I always had like a strong urge to want more, become better, try to hit my goals, in a certain time frame. I always had a need to try to be, 1% better than the day before because of the athletic background that I had. I played sports my entire life. Every single day was another day to train. Every single day was another day to try to get better. Come to realize that patience is truly a virtue. This is something that I had to fix in my day-to-day life to get better at day trading. So the question was, what personal aspects of your life did you have to improve on in order to become a successful trader? There's many different ways you can do this. One of the ways that I did this was reading. I'm not exactly a huge reader. I don't really care to be sitting down and going through hundreds of pages of a book, but that showed me the impatience. Sitting there and being patient enough to go through that information. Doing something you don't want to do, but you do it anyways because you know it's good for you, that's where you build discipline. Okay? If you could build discipline in the areas of life that you lack, then you can work on those character traits that will make you a better trader. So I knew I didn't like to read, but I did it anyways because I knew that it would slow my mind down. It would allow me to go over more information, right? It went from only reading 10 pages of a book a day to 20 pages of a book a day to 30 pages. When I saw that I was able to sit there for a longer period of time without being emotionally induced to stop doing that, that's when I saw that I was gaining more patience. Another way to gain more patience is when you're having a conversation with somebody, listen to them. Don't start talking until they are done talking. Be patient enough to wait your turn. So during conversations, allow them to talk, allow them to finish their portion of the conversation or their topic. Don't talk over them. Just be patient and wait. Okay, so patience is truly a virtue. That is one of the things I really needed to work on. Okay. Then the second thing that I really need to work on is the need to be right. Okay. You have to learn that in this business, failing is inevitable. Losing is inevitable. If you're going to get so emotional about your losses to the point where you can't learn from it, you're not going to make progress in this business. Okay, so being capable of failing and continue to get up and do it again, no matter how many times you fail, is going to be very important for your long-term success in any business. And the way that I realized this was looking at other professional athletes, and I have mentioned that here during this live stream before, is that take a look at any baseball player. Like, pick the best baseball player right now and tell me what their batting average is. On average, a major league baseball player only hits the ball 1 out of every 4 times or 1 out of every 3 times. Okay, so that's a quarter of the time, 0.250. He's failing majority of the time, yet they are the ones getting paid the big bucks. They are the professionals. That's because they're capable of failing, okay? They're capable of failing, but they're also capable of showing up to the plate the next time around, giving it their entire attention, their entire focus, giving it all that they can every single time they get a chance. They never worry about the past. They're so focused on the present that it doesn't matter that they fail 3 out of every 4 attempts. They're still going to get up there and try their hardest no matter what. Very good question, Austin. So far, the 2 winners are Abel and Austin. I have taken screenshots of these so that we can keep these winners. Abel Tackett, again, sorry if I'm saying names wrong, but Austin Chang, we will contact you, or the mod in chat will tell you how to claim the prize. And then we have one more winner as well. So again, last chance, last winner. Okay. What we're currently doing is throwing valuable questions in chat. A question about trading. Okay. Throw any type of question in chat about trading. We're trying to provide value through answering some of the most valuable questions regarding trading. Okay, I'm going to pick one more winner. I'll give you guys just another minute or two to throw some more questions in chat. We've already picked out 2 winners, so congratulations to them. While you guys are at it, like the channel, sub to the channel, turn the notifications on. We are doing this every single week. We'll continue to keep showing up, relentlessly working and learning every single chance we get. So like the stream, sub to the channel, throw that question in chat. For anybody that's curious why they can't throw a question in chat, it's because you haven't subbed to the channel. So if you're trying to participate in the giveaway, you got to sub to the channel. That way you can participate in chat. I'm giving you guys just another minute or 2 before we get to the last giveaway winner to put a very valuable question in chat about trading. Going to go ahead and just do a quick little segment on what we're watching here too. In the beginning of my segment, I explained my top-down analysis. I'm currently bullish because of the daily chart. The daily tapped into a bullish imbalance. Therefore, it gave me a bullish bias. I then pointed to the daily equal highs. So we have a bullish bias and we have a target for that bullish bias. Since we have a game plan, that's when you execute your entry function. You create a game plan, then you execute that game plan. So that's why I'm looking at a bullish unicorn. There's just no position on my end because after the unicorn was confirmed, we never retested the unicorn before moving higher. So far, we confirmed the position and just kind of moved higher, and now we've been consolidating. Ever since then, we've just been sitting in this little consolidation. So I'm bullish. That's my logic to my decision making. We also got an entry function aligned with that logic. Just no entry was provided, so I have not taken a trade yet. All right, and I'll hop back over to chat. Once again, last giveaway winner. Third winner is going to be picked here any minute. I'll give you one last minute before I start reading through the questions again. We are putting a valuable question in chat. A valuable question regarding day trading. I'll pick one more winner. I'm going to head over to chat now and start reading some of the questions. So if you don't mind, just give me a minute or two so I can get through some questions. Let's take a look. Give me a minute. I'm reading through the questions. Reading through the questions. There's a bunch in here, so if you don't mind, just give me another minute so I can get through a very valuable question. I'm reading through a bunch of them currently. Still reading through the questions, trying to give everybody a fair chance here. So I'm reading a bunch of them before I pick the last winner here. And this is a very good question here. This is a very good question. CJ is asking about tilt. Very good question here. All right, the last giveaway winner is going to be CJ. CJ is asking, Ash, regarding tilt. How do you spot your tilt? Through a body part or thoughts in your head? And what's triggering for you and how do you walk away? Just so everybody understands real quick, tilt it's an emotional response. It's, when something happens, it tilts your ability to be objective, whether that's emotionally, psychologically. Something happens that causes an inducement of an emotion that then throws you off of your originally set game plan, right? It tilts you from your already predefined game plan. So if you don't know what tilt is, that is what it is. It's something that occurs that throws you off your already predefined game plan, whether that's emotionally, mentally, risk management, any type of tilt can occur. And this is extremely important in my opinion, because I've mentioned this before and I'll continue to keep talking about it. knowing thyself is one of the most valuable things that you can do in trading, right? Because something might tilt me, whereas that same thing might not tilt you. So that's why knowing thyself is extremely important. Okay. For me, let me answer the question. How do you spot your tilt? The way that I spot my tilt is when I do something outside of my game plan, right? So my game plan is time is the most important element. I look to participate during New York Open. Okay, so that's the first alert to understand whether I'm tilting, right? Whether I'm following my game plan or not, right? If I'm executing at 6 a.m. in the morning, that's a problem because I just stated that I execute at New York Open, which is 9:30 in the morning. So if I'm not following my game plan, that's the first thing that shows me that I'm starting to tilt. Okay. Then comes the thoughts that occur. The second portion of this answer would be the thoughts that happen within, my brain. The way that I react to those thoughts are very important. If you can control your emotions, you'll be able to make progress in this business. But if you allow those emotions to take over and force you to do things you should not be doing, you're going to ruin accounts. You're going to burn through accounts very quickly. Right? So we've gone through many live streams at this point, and we'll continue to keep going through live streams. But during these live streams, I'm pointing to certain logic. When I point to this certain logic, that's me saying out loud my thought process. So you're getting to see all of my decision making in real time. For example, I stated that I'm only looking to take 1 trade a day maximum, 2 trades a week maximum. Right? So it's very easy for me to understand that I'm not listening to those logical decision making processes if I'm taking more than 1 trade in a day. I'm allowing something or someone tell me otherwise. Someone's telling me that it's okay to take a second trade when logic states it's not. Right? So you can be objectively driven and analyze through the logic you provide to your decision making, or you can allow those intrusive thoughts to creep in. And if you allow those intrusive thoughts to creep in, you'll start doing things outside of your game plan, outside of your risk management. Right? So another very easy way to understand that those thoughts are creeping in is wanting or needing more than what the market provides you. Right? So, for example, I'm currently in a live account for MyFundedFutures. The daily loss limit is $500. Right? So for me to risk more than $500 because I want to make more or I need to make more is showing that I'm clearly allowing some intrusive thoughts in that's deterring my risk management. And that's not acceptable. That's something that would make me hit that daily loss limit. Then I would burn the account because I did that. Right? So if you can control your emotions, if you can control your thoughts, you'll be able to make progress in this business. You need to have defined reasons how or why you do things so that you understand whether you're going against your game plan, right? So I've created a model through the amount of time and experience that I've been in this market that is a cause and effect relation to how or why I do things. And I continue to go over those logics with you guys here on stream. I only participate during New York Open because time is my most important element. Then I create a bias by looking at the daily chart. I point to a draw on liquidity by looking for equal highs or equal lows. Then I execute the unicorn model aligned with that information. If at any point in time I'm doing something against those 3 different things, then I'm acting outside of my game plan. And it's probably because of some kind of intrusive thought. So the triggers are very easy for me to see because I've defined the way that I execute, how I execute, and I understand my risk management. Anytime I step outside of those things, that's how I can recognize that I'm tilting. Okay, so the question was, how do you spot your tilt through a body part or thoughts in your head? And what's triggering for you, and how do you walk away? So the last portion of how do you walk away is exactly that. I know it's going to sound very simple or, not very complicated, but literally walking away. I mean, physically removing yourself from any devices would be the hard stop. How do I walk away? By physically walking away, right? Close up all devices, turn off all devices. That way you physically cannot be on a platform, and go do something else, right? If you have the platforms on your cell phone, stop bringing your cell phone to the gym. If your platforms are only on your computer, then leave the office. Literally, not figuratively, literally walk away would be the hard stop. The way that I walk away from those triggers. Amazing questions. Incredible amount of value today here. Thank you for everybody that's participating. Abel was the first winner. Austin Chang was the second winner. CJ was the third winner. Amazing job today, everyone. Incredible value. Very good questions. And I really appreciate everybody participating today. Very, very good job. So now that we got through that segment, we got another 8 minutes here before we wrap up. Okay. Just going to walk through some price action, talk about the chart before we close up the day. Once again, we do this every single week. So we'll be right back here live again tomorrow. Be ready to show up, work, and learn. Continue to gain conviction by gaining more experience. We continue to keep showing up, executing our model, and gaining data every single day. That's how we get clarity. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'm going to take another sip of coffee, and then we'll finish up the last 8 minutes of the stream. All right. Very good job, everyone. Very good job. Hope everybody's able to get some value from the questions that were provided. We are going through trades. We're bringing experts on here. We're doing giveaways every single day. We're looking to provide as much value as we can, every chance we can. So just to wrap up the stream, I'll continue to keep pointing to some levels that I'm looking at, some information for moving forward this week. Another thing to talk about is the economic calendar. Okay, we have our news drivers at the end of the week. So a reason to be patient today, seeing that the volatility this week looks to be on the back half of the week. You have red folders that are occurring Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, so in terms of executing this week, I'm completely okay with not executing today, seeing that there was no red folders today. On days that don't have red folders, that doesn't mean you can't participate. It's just a time to be more patient and selective than normal. Okay, so no execute. You can see I'm in my live account right now. There was no trades today. You can see that there was no executions. Anytime I execute, you'll see it right here on stream. Whether the trade was taken before the stream, we'll review the trade and you'll be able to see the execution labels. or if I take the trade on stream, we'll be able to talk about it during the time of. As of today, I'll leave you off with my analysis for anybody that was not here during the time of. Here's the reasons for all my decision making. I'm bullish. I get my bias from the daily chart. On the daily chart, I'm looking at FVGs and swing highs and swing lows. It's very clear that we tapped into a bullish FVG. After tapping into that bullish FVG, it provided support for higher prices. We got a nice move higher. Therefore, I'm bullish, and what I'm aiming at for targets, I use equal highs or equal lows. You can see these equal highs here on the daily chart. So I'm looking for a bullish move higher to, let's see, what level is this? This is 21,562. Okay, so I'm looking for a move higher. These are my reasons why. I'll be targeting the equal highs this week. Tomorrow we have a red folder. Thursday we have a red folder. Friday we have a red folder. So I'll look to see if Wednesday, Thursday, Friday can achieve this target. Beautiful move so far. Okay. This is the way that I engage with my bias. When I'm able to create a game plan, then I look for my entry function that's aligned with that game plan. Here it is right here. I look to participate at New York Open. You can see at New York Open, we run below this swing low. After running below this swing low, we tap into an hourly FVG, right? So a higher time frame point of interest. We tap into a higher time frame point of interest. After tapping into that FVG, we then create a breaker block that has an FVG aligned with it. So this is the model that I trade, the unicorn model, an FVG aligned with a breaker. So once I'm capable of creating a game plan, then it's a matter of having a clear draw on liquidity, right? The equal highs. If I'm capable of identifying and defining all that information, then I will go look for my entry function that's aligned with that idea. And that's what happened this morning. We had a bullish bias. We have a target of the equal highs. Then during New York Open, my entry function occurred. The only difference here is that price continues to keep moving higher, right? Here's the confirmation of the entry function here. Ever since we got that confirmation, we've just been moving higher. So that's why there was no position. It continues to keep moving higher without retesting the entry function. And that's okay, right? Process over profits. Okay. Fall in love with the process. Allow the results to be a byproduct of that. Okay. So I just explained my process, and now the results, since that's a byproduct, I'm not worried about the results. But the results state we did not get an entry because we did not revisit the entry function. It just continues to keep moving higher without providing an entry. Therefore, no position for me today. I am happily flat to start the week. I will be looking for higher prices. Just know that there will always be another opportunity. You do not have to force yourself upon price every single day. Okay? Less is more. Quality over quantity. Okay? There will always be another position. You should fall in love with the process. Allow the results to be a byproduct of that. All right. So that's it for today's segment. Thank you for everybody that participated today. We will be right back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Come join us for another live stream. There will be more giveaways, more guests, more trades, more value. We will continue to keep doing this every single day. Thank you all for being here. I hope you all have a nice day.